Hi and welcome back to Love English. I'm Leila and today I'm going to help you learn 25, that's right, 25 phrasal verbs all connected to food and the preparation of food. Whether it is chopping up, cutting up, dicing up, slicing up, pigging out, tucking in, wolfing down, these phrasal verbs are essential when it comes to talking about food. And of course, they are going to help you sound a lot more native. Many of these phrasal verbs are quite informal, more colloquial, meaning more commonly spoken amongst native speakers. And of course, phrasal verbs are a challenge to learn. We know that you don't like them, but learning them in this way, learning them related to the topic, can really help you connect the phrasal verbs together and remember them. Now remember, to learn these phrasal verbs, you really need to be using them. So if you don't have a native speaking partner to practice with, then make sure you comment below. Write some sentences using some of these phrasal verbs. I'll check them and correct them. And don't forget, you can learn more about me and Sabrah on our website, loveenglish.co.uk. And of course, you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. So, are you ready? Let's get on with the lesson. 25 phrasal verbs for cooking and eating. Number 1, to pig out. Pig out. Now here we're using pig as a verb, and as this might suggest, it's probably not the best way to eat something. When you pig out, you eat a large amount of something. Usually too much.
I am going to pig out. So good. Sorry, Leila, I'm not going to share any of these with you.
Number 2, to tuck in, to basically start eating. Often someone might say to you, come on, tuck in. So, to get started eating. Number 3, similarly, dig in. I would say that this is more informal, but still acceptable to use. Dig in. Come on guys, dig in. We might say this to encourage people to eat if there's a buffet or food available, but maybe people are a little bit shy and don't want to start eating and look rude. But if someone says to you, come on, dig in or tuck in, it means eat, get started. Number 4, wolf down. Now here we've got another animal being used in a verb and in a phrasal verb. So as you may guess, to wolf down means to eat very fast. Now it might be that you're late for a meeting, that you only have 5 minutes to eat your lunch, and you could say, I had to wolf down my lunch because I didn't have any time to eat. So to eat something very fast. Not the best way to eat and not very good for digestion. Number 5, a phrasal verb you might hear when a mum or a dad is talking to their child. Eat up, eat up. Basically, come on, finish your food. So to eat up means finish your food. Now, if you're not very hungry or if you don't like something on your plate, then you might pick at it. So if you're picking at vegetables, it means you're kind of just touching it with your fork or just eating a tiny little bit at a time. So someone might say to you, come on, stop picking at your food, just eat up. Number 7, most of you will know the noun snack. Snack, meaning something you eat between your meals. But you can also use snack as a verb, and often we say snack on. She was snacking on crisps all afternoon, so she didn't eat her dinner. So to snack on something is literally the verb, to say that you were eating something between meals. I was snacking on carrots because I was so hungry before dinner. Number 8, polish off. Polish off. Now this phrasal verb is referring to finishing your food, usually because you really enjoyed it, you really liked it. Wow, you polished that off quick. Meaning you ate that really fast and you ate everything. The plate was clean. Number 9, live off. Live off. When we're talking about food, it might mean that you're eating one thing or not having a big variety of food. So if you say, oh, she lives off chocolate, she lives off McDonald's, it means that they predominantly eat this. This is a big part of their diet and they survive on this food. Now, hopefully nobody does live off McDonald's or, I don't know, burgers, because you need a variety of fruits and vegetables and lots of other food besides that. But if you live off something, then it means that you're predominantly eating that. Often this could be said in a joking way. Do you live off chocolate? Number 10, full up means that I'm full, I've had enough, I can't eat any more. That's it. So I'm full up is essentially I'm full, I've had enough. Number 11, to fill up on means you've eaten one specific thing and you're full. So for example, don't fill up on chocolate before dinner. You won't have an appetite for your meal. And to be full up means that you've eaten enough. Thanks, Mum, I'm full up now. Ooh, number 12 and 13 are very useful when we're talking about controlling our diet. To cut down on something. When you cut down on something, you do not eliminate it from your diet, but you reduce your consumption, how much you eat of or drink something. I definitely need to cut down on sugar. Definitely not good for my diet. But to cut out, number 13, means to eliminate, to quit, to stop eating or drinking this thing. So if you say, I cut out alcohol, it means that you've stopped drinking it completely. So I cut out alcohol and I feel so much healthier. 14, to eat out. Not too difficult. As this phrasal verb implies, this is to eat outside of your home. So you can say, what should we do? Should we eat out tonight? Meaning, shall we go to a restaurant to eat? To eat in, therefore, would mean to eat at home. You know what? I really fancy eating in tonight. Now, this could mean that you're cooking or you could get a takeaway. So a meal that you order from outside that they deliver to you. That's 16, takeaway. Now, of course, this is commonly used as a noun, but often we can use it as a phrasal verb. Someone might say to you in a coffee shop, eat in or take away. Or McDonald's, eat in or take away. Eat in is eating in the building or at home where you are purchasing your food or cooking. And to take away is to take it with you. That might mean that you're taking it, bringing it home, or it might mean that you're simply taking it to go somewhere else. Now, when you do decide to eat in and you want a takeaway, you can also say order in. Shall we order in tonight? Or you can say, shall we get a takeaway? Now, when you order in, it means that you call up the restaurant or very often go on your phone and you can order a meal from a restaurant or just a normal takeaway shop that deliver to you. Now, of course, you've got two options. You can have them bring it to you to deliver the food, or you can pick it up, meaning to collect the food. So they might say delivery or collection. If it's collection, you will go and pick up the food. Now, preparing food. There are a lot of phrasal verbs here and some of them are very similar. They might confuse you. I'm going to start with a nice simple one. Number 19, to whip something up. To whip is this action, but when you say, I'll just whip something up, you're actually saying, I'll cook something very quickly. There's a certain amount of speed implied in the process of cooking. Let me whip a sandwich up for you. You look starving. Now 20, I'm actually giving you two here because they're essentially the same thing. To cut up and to chop up. There's not a big difference in this at all. Now the verbs themselves, there is a difference. When you chop, you are cutting something into pieces quite vigorously, quite quickly. To cut is to make an incision. So you might cut the meat. You could say you cut it, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you chopped it up. But to chop up and to cut up, more or less the same thing. 21, to dice up, is quite specific. When you dice something, dice carrots, dice meat, you're cutting it into squares, pieces, but more square shapes. So if you say to someone, can you dice up some carrots for the soup? You're asking them to cut it into squares. To slice up is to cut into thin slices, into layers, more or less. So you would slice an onion, more commonly, and you would also have sliced bread. That's probably the best example. You slice a loaf of bread. So to divide something into slices, not squares. Dice up, squares, slice up, thin layers. 23, how often has this happened to you? To boil over. You might be cooking pasta or rice or soup, and you leave it on the heat too long and it bubbles and boils over. So the verb to boil means to heat to 100 degrees Celsius, to the point that the liquid becomes bubbly. But to boil over means that it goes over the pan and makes a lovely mess if you're not looking. 24, warm up, heat up, same thing. Basically to make something hot. So I'm just going to warm some soup up for you. It's so cold out, it'll make you feel better. Can you warm up the leftovers from last night? Meaning the food that we ate last night that was left over, that we didn't eat. Finally, 25, fry up. Now, fry up, many of you may recognise as being an English breakfast. So we would often say, do you fancy a fry up? Do you want an English breakfast? But to fry up is also a verb meaning to essentially fry something. Usually to prepare something quite quickly, because frying, not the healthiest way to cook. So a fry up as a noun is referring to an English breakfast, but of course you can fry something up. I'm just going to fry up some chips for us. Better to put them in the oven, really. So there we go. That was 25, maybe 26 phrasal verbs, all connected to food. How we eat, where we eat, and how we prepare our food. Comment below and have a go. Try using some of these phrasal verbs in a sentence. And remember, collecting phrasal verbs into these topics, into these groups, is really going to help you learn them faster and just be able to categorize these phrasal verbs and know when to use them. So let me know, what other topics would you like me to cover on phrasal verbs?